We added and posted before our 48 hours. Under new business, we added the Monee Mavericks. Because they, after reading their letter, I realized that they were asking for a donation for winning teams to go conference places. There it is. So, yeah, they sent us that nice letter. So, okay, everybody, get a chance to look at the minutes?
Page 2, couple of typos. On the assessor's report. Everybody? Sure. Okay. The assessor heard review the updated, it should say review the updated office policy overtime.
I'll take out the before office.
Right. And then down at the second sentence, she started submitting a phone bill for township to pay instead of being reimbursed. Pay them, what the she always got one bill.
She started submitting her phone bill for town.
Maybe
Well, it should be for the township to pay instead of being reimbursed.
Right.
So I should have a comment there or something?
Should be for the township to pay
And take out.
and then
them.
take out them
Well,
instead of being reimbursed.
to pay instead of being reimbursed. Okay.
And then on page 3, under project reports, the second paragraph is the National Youth Program utilizing motorbikes. It's Alfreda. She spells it A-L-L.
Alfreda Kelly?
Alfreda Kelly, not Donna Kelly. It's Alfreda, A-L-L-R-E-D-A. And she spells color K-E-L-L-E-R.
Okay, Keller.
Keller.
K-L-L-E-R.
Right.
And spell her first name again for me?
A-L-F-R-E-D-A.
Okay.
That's all.
Anybody else, anything?
I saw some typos on the approved minutes.
Any good minutes? They're good. You didn't see them. Sorry. Sorry. All right, nobody else, and is there a motion to approve the minutes as corrected? By Marie, second?
Second.
By James? Okay. Roll call vote, please?
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Deborah?
Yes. Public comments? I know Bridget is here for discuss later on, and you can speak at that time. Excuse me. All right, general assistance report. From October 10th through November 13th, 12 intakes, 6 applications, 0 flat grants, 1 other aid, 21 pantry, 3 denied, 2 pending, 2 terminated. We have 5 showing at this time on general assistance, which was down from our high of 9 at one time, and we lost, we had 7, went down to 5, and I think we just gained another one, so next time it'll show 6. Total amount for general assistance was $1,098, total amount for emergency assistance $1,050, for a total spent for both GA and EA of $2,148. The senior committee update is the holiday brunch is December 4th. It's at the University Park Golf Club. We have it there every year starting at 9. And we signed up 125 seniors and have a waiting list because they really don't have much more room there. So it's something that's very well attended. So,
That's a good thing.
yeah, that's a good thing.
Can we go back real quick, Supervisor, to the GA?
Yeah.
Wait, you might have mentioned it, somewhere else here. But I see we had a good drop off from August to September. And what was the reason for that? I mean, that's a good thing. What was the thing?
Drop off in what?
In total, GA and EA.
No, because our
Yeah.
GA is because we've lost a couple. That's the difference there.
So when you say we lost a couple?
2 people
Okay,
who
okay,
have found jobs. So
okay.
that's the difference there.
And then the EA
Your
just,
EA isn't that much different, it's just emergency assistance.
well, it
And,
went from 3,000 to 1,600.
Yeah.
It did from 1,600 to 1,000. It kind of, I guess it's kind of cyclic.
Everything is cyclical.
Okay.
Well, usually August and September and October are really high volume months.
Okay.
You know, they have school coming, you know, they're paying for school, they're paying for some other things, and they're trying to catch up, and they've gotten behind in some of the utilities. And those are just, you know, as they come in, they're just saying, it seems like every year this time of the year, we, you know, I have problems, so.
Yeah, especially the July through the August, because what they're doing is they're trying to get their bills paid up so that as they need heating in the fall,
Mhm.
you know, things that have been discontinued, disconnected, and things like that.
That's enough.
A lot of that. Okay. All right, we did go to the TOI conference, and we all learned a few things. One of the things that you had asked about and we put on the table were TIFs.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And,
Yes.
and, because they've gone, and our next TIF doesn't expire, according to Joe here, I asked Joe, our base year is 1993, so it's good for 23 years, which comes to 2016 is the next, and that's if they don't re-up it, is that right?
They can extend, it's beyond the 23 years, but I believe it takes an act by the legislature to do that.
Okay, so probably not.
Yeah, 23, well, 23 years.
Beyond
Right.
23 years.
I think Creek just did one, theirs expired, I think the max you can go, this is why I remember.
12 years.
12 years, exactly, 35 years. So they got it extended.
Yeah.
Creek did.
That's possible.
So I guess the biggest thing here, Joe, that I was trying to get out of this whole TIF saga is, you know, everybody's hurting for money, obviously. And with your expertise, have you ever seen or heard of a leveling body kind of go into the you know, the big leveling bodies like the villages and all that, and get some of that TIF money in some capacity?
You mean after that expires? Well,
Even before, you know, while it's being in the makings,
Yeah.
can some dialogue, I know we tried to get, I don't know, 4 or 5% from University Park in their last TIF. And, you know, it should be some form of partnership there. It should be, but again, you know, that is taking the money from all of the other taxing bodies and things like that, so.
yeah, I don't know, I'm not an expert on TIF,
Uh-huh.
but, you know, I think that's one of the drawbacks for the other municipal bodies. The other taxing bodies, it does draw off the money from the municipality, which,
It seems like it just goes to the municipalities and, you know, money is being taken away from other entities, other taxing bodies. So from what I learned at the conference was that, yeah, there could be some form of partnership and agreement. And one thing is after the TIF expired, or not expired, but all the components that TIF was built for or created could have used somewhat end up in a surplus. The TIF could be for 23 years, but now, for example, it's in the 17th year, and all the things that they wanted to do within that TIF, they had, you know, they met their goals. Now you have a surplus.
they can end early.
They can end early, or they can give money. So,
I suppose there's a trade-off. Yeah, I mean, they do, I've heard of them certainly ending early,
okay,
but,
That's up to the entity that has the TIF.
it is.
Now, there's not much that you can force them to do one way or the other.
So, the last, and this is going to be it for me on this conversation. The TIF that UP, the last one they brought to the table, UP, they did let us know, we got a copy of it, that they were going to involve themselves in this particular TIF. I think every year they ought to let the other public entities know that there's some conversation that's gonna go on that particular year about this TIF. I don't know if we are receiving that. We get the initial upfront that a TIF is gonna be created, but we need to know if there's gonna be some annual dialogue on that.
I've never seen
See,
anything come in.
and that's what I learned from this conference, that they should let us know.
But they
And
don't.
once the discussion is moving forward, it's a TIF being conducted as planned. And
But is it a state law that they have to let us know when the TIF is going to expire, about to expire? Is it? I don't think it is.
He kind of, he kind of said that is a ethical thing to do. So I said, okay.
Good luck. Good luck,
That's
okay.
an ethical thing to do.
All right, let's
I'll say one thing that I was doing some reading on TIFs, just again, since the subject came up.
Uh-huh,
And, one of these things which says how a TIF should operate,
and,
which is not necessarily how they do operate,
okay.
is that the full tax, this is one comment that made.
Uh-huh.
The full tax base, including the new growth, becomes available to all taxing bodies for their use after the TIF ends.
Yeah.
And until then,
Uh-huh.
all major taxing bodies meet annually with the municipality to review progress of the district. Now, that's a perfect world.
That's what I was alluding to, yes.
Which means that you as a school board member, you could ask them. We as a township, it's a smaller amount, so we, it's not gonna be something we're gonna probably.
Wouldn't the business manager know that?
Not necessarily.
That's what I was just gonna add, is that I think that the school board could definitely request it. And even if they're gonna say, we'll take the responsibility of scheduling that such meeting so that you can get some input or insight on it. Because as I know, they haven't been doing it. They
No.
haven't been doing annual reviews.
No.
No.
I don't
So
think so.
I think you could request it though.
Right.
I
Probably
think
could.
within
Well, if
the
contract
letter of
is
law,
established, would it happen necessarily to be in the contract for you to review? It must be able to see.
Well, we don't see it for review, because it's between the.
I mean, I think that'd be something that you probably could approach them on, and because they're supposed to.
and they also supposed to submit, I think, an annual report to the state controller.
There's supposed to be an annual report.
And you're supposed to be able to get it on the state controller website. I have not been there yet, but.
They're supposed to do it, they've been behind, I can tell you that.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's why I said supposed to.
But it's just, everybody is just going TIF crazy, I guess. I guess that's their source of income these days. To draw the businesses in, that's what they're doing. And it's just kind of filtering down in a way that is hurting other taxing bodies. I know ours is small here in this umbrella, but yet in all, I don't know what to do. I don't have the answer to that. I wish I did.
Okay.
I really do.
All right, well, let's move on. Go to the clerk's report.
I also attended the conference, and they had a wide range of sessions, ranging from township records to township meetings, and also they talked about cannabis, medical cannabis use, and local, the concealed carry law in Illinois, as well as a class on having a proper attitude, different attitudes with different things, and so it was basically a session to try to make sure you have a proper attitude when you're dealing with public people. So,
Put on a smiley face. Okay, anything else, Bobby?
that's all.
All right, Highway Commissioner's report?
Snow plows and trucks are ready. I'm expecting delivery on this new truck any day now, probably next week. Just all it needs is the salt spreader. We had to do a little changing there. I ordered salt today, 6 loads. I called them up yesterday, I got real mad at them, but, because they couldn't find they couldn't find the contract. But they said, take it easy, we'll get this settled. So they finally did. I said, well, you charge, I'm paying the highest amount in the whole state. And they said, no, you're not. So they got it done, they got it fixed, so I got it all covered.
So now, what are we paying per ton?
Oh, 137, I think. We paid 50, we paid 50, paid 52 last year.
Goodness.
Yeah, paid that.
137 of what?
A ton. Yeah, that's what we paid last year. So we'll be doing some minor adjustments on this. I also attended the TOI conference. I went to 3 sessions. 2 of them mainly on the road, and the other one was the TIF. I did go to that one in the morning, when you guys have breakfast.
Okay.
And just for a matter of information, the TIF in Monee, I get invited to that every year.
Do you?
Yeah, I go every year, or maybe I didn't go last year. And I'm basically the only one. I mean, you know, the school district's not there, nobody's there. And a few people from the public are there, and that's about it. So they just, if you're 5 minutes late, it's over. Yeah, you're done, it's too late. The other one, the 2 in the road, the one guy, he's head of the vice president of the Asphalt Association. He worked for IDOT for 11 years. He gave us some tips about motor fuel tax. And he also made a comment about township roads. We are the only ones that pay cash for our road work. State of Illinois, bonds. That our grandkids will never be able to pay them off. These roads that they're putting in, it's all bonded. It's just terrible, he said. It's just a way of life. So he's talking about, they're working on the gas tax. Gotta be increased. The more gas price goes down, they'll probably raise it a little more. And they can put 10 cents on it right now. He said they could put 25 cents on it easily right now, except for the media. The media would pick it up and say, because we're all used to paying between $0.25 and $3.50 for gas. So what would be the difference, you know? But the media would jump on that and really just condemn everybody for that. So there's other things they're working on to get us more gas tax. Get us more gas tax money. That's about it.
And I think the important thing that David said is that we as a township, we don't do bonds and we don't borrow to
that's
fix
right.
our roads and to take care of township business. We pay cash and we try to live within what we get from taxpayers every year.
The township road commissioner is the only one that's accountable for the conditions and the financial shape of the roads. Not the state, that's all Springfield. The county, that's all Joliet. So if anything's not right on the township roads, who do they blame? It goes to the road commissioner. Let's get a new one in there next year.
Well, we do a good job with our roads, so thank you, David, for that.
Oh, yeah. It's been handed down this way,
Right.
long time ago.
Townships always had good roads.
Yep.
With Wayne, always
Yep.
made sure all the roads
Yep.
were paved, and he
Yep.
started out, when Wayne Hassan was highway commissioner, he had many unpaved roads. And
Oh, yeah.
during the course of his tenure, he
Yeah.
paved them all.
Yeah, he had trees.
And,
He had everything, so.
so we're keeping up, and now we've
Yep.
got bridges, so, we're doing what we need to do. So
Yep.
But just on that note, you've been doing a good job. It's always that, that Murphy's Law comes into place, and we only levy X amount,
Yeah.
So what do we do if a road just becomes unrepairable any given year, and we do not have the funds? What do? Do we don't sell bonds?
No.
Do we go to Will County and say,
Thankfully, I haven't reached that point yet.
I
It
know.
might be.
But
There's a lot of townships that have just given up on asphalt roads.
really,
Yeah, they're turning them back to gravel.
do you think, is that maybe our contingency if we had a asphalt?
Gravel road, short term, long term,
Okay, short term, okay.
they're hauling gravel.
Okay.
But as long as, every year, he's
Yeah.
got a maintenance and he has a plan and he keeps that plan going and maintains the roads that need it first, which he does, then we won't get to that position of being in bad
I
shape.
don't know. You get, these winters are getting worse and worse.
Well,
And we only get, again, X amount of money. We're not in
biggest-
a position to sell bonds, or can we sell bonds?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we
Okay,
could.
that's the
We
answer
can
then.
do.
Oh, yeah, that
Okay,
could be
that's
done.
it.
But
I'm
it's
not-
not that we want to.
We want to,
We
okay.
don't want
No.
the cost of
So
taxpayers
that's,
anymore.
but we're not, you know,
Sure, no, I agree.
I do have a little problem with Richardson Avenue. And I gotta go after the state big time for that deal. I mean, I got trucks on that I-57 project. You just can't. It must be 10, 15, 20 an hour. Gravel trucks zipping down that road 65, 70 miles an hour. And it's just, you know, they're just,
Going from where to where?
oh, they're going from Monee, Manhattan to Stunkel Road. And then turning right and going into the, where they're putting the interchange.
Ah, got it,
Yeah.
okay.
But
Yeah.
that speed
But
limit
that
is
road
only,
is-
what,
No,
40?
it's 55.
55, there's no speed limit up
Isn't
there.
that road blocked?
Going across.
Going across, yeah,
Not going
yeah,
north and south.
yeah, yeah. So I'm gonna have to do some big writing, do some, I did already to the people working out there, but they say you gotta go higher up, so. Should've went, with election year, I should've pushed. I probably could've got a nice stipend or grant, cash grant. I'd like to have a cash grant. Do it myself.
Okay, well, if you see any warnings out there, you need to bring that warning to the board.
Oh, yeah.
It's some
Yep.
level of contingency. Please let us know.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, assessors report, Sandra?
Good afternoon, evening, rather.
I can't hear you, Mike?
I said I've got some information.
Hello, Assessor, how are you? That's great. Deputy Assessor, how are you?
Sorry. Okay. All right, just want to give you all a summary of the activities that we've been experiencing in the last few months. We've had over 212 property owners seeking reduction for appeals. More than 98% of them have been represented by attorneys. Some of these are residential, vacant land, commercial, industrial, apartment complexes, and condos. And many are seeking up to 68% reduction because of recent sales are low, or they are experiencing with industrial and commercial, they're experiencing vacancies in their properties. So, and we have spent our office about 117 hours overtime in the last 4 months, which equates to about $3,387 over the last 4 months, where we have on an average about $7,200 to $7,600 a month regular pay. So our overtime for 4 months only represents maybe about half of 1 month regular pay. If we were going to then think about, I know we talked about this, but again, I don't think it's a good idea to do full-time at the office. Even if we just had 2 employees full-time, the salary line would have to increase about $26,000 to $38,000. That's about 10 times the amount that we're paying in overtime. So I think it's cost-effective to keep it the way that it is. And we do have, by need and also by how the state statutes allow it to be. And I believe it's because primarily, as I said before, a lot of assessors are part-time. All year is not the same workload. And if you got to do extra work to prepare for the appeal time, I think it justifies to do that. And that law was decided by people who weren't assessors, so I just think that that's something that was understood, that that would be a need for assessors. We're reviewing documents for state appeals. Also, before I go to that, I did provide you a sheet of this is the budget estimate that we got last year when we did our budget. And I just wanted to show that we have been fiscally responsible ever since we've been in office. You see the numbers at the bottom where I'm writing the difference on how much was budgeted and how much was spent, that these amounts end up going back to the town fund every year. Every year there's been, a substantial amount that goes back. And even though the office has been growing and we have extra needs, like this year, we're gonna have a need for a replacement of our server. And that's the extra cost that we'll have by the end of this year. But again, I just wanted to show that there has definitely been fiscal thinking on my part. Also, that also means that there has been extra funds going back to the town fund that could, for instance, support an increase to this position. The next thing that I wanted to cover is the fact that we have been going quite a bit to the county. So you're going to see an increase in travel expenses. But just to give an example, I think I gave this example before of one of the large apartment complexes that was looking for a reduction, and that was the Thornwood House. They're still again looking for it. So each year, this is what I find, most people who appeal, they keep appealing every year. Is they're never, even when you negotiate them out, then they come back the next year for more. But I wanted to give you this example because when we are not putting in the time to maybe to do the best we can to build the supporting evidence for cases like this, and right now I don't have any legal person that's helping me. But for the most part, I'm reading the appraisals, I'm getting better at that, but they have all of their group, they have their witness, they have their attorney, they have everybody there explaining what they support. And so I right now just alone doing that. But for instance, if we don't win appeals, this is where the taxpayers get hit. It's not because of the foreclosures, because as I think I explained before, when a house is foreclosed upon, or even when, the bank or whoever still owns it, they pay the taxes. If it's someone who doesn't have a loan and they get behind in their taxes, then there's tax buyers that pay the taxes. So, but the area where we get hit and the tax individual home residential people have to make up the difference is when these large companies appeal and they win. Okay, and sometimes you'll probably even know, because we do get interveners from the school board. They come and help us fight on certain ones. Because even if, say if they win, or like if it was from a previous appeal, the previous year, and they win, then the taxing bodies have to pay their money back. You've already received it, but you got to pay it back. But for the current year, the burden gets redistributed to the taxpayers who are not getting that rate. Okay? So it's really important, and it is by law that we have to, do our best to provide defense on it. And I like last year, I did give Joe that same package, but it was not much that he could do, to give me. He just did recommend that I ask for an extension. I did that. But anyway, these appeals, it's very important that we, stand in, and I do go there and stand for the township.
So when you go and stand, you're talking about, you go to the board of review? Okay, so it's you and the plaintiff presenting to the board of review?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the appellants usually have attorneys. It's changed, it's been a total different dynamic in the last 2 years. It used to be I'm sitting across from a resident or a business owner or whatever. All has changed. Am I right, Joe?
There is a lot of that, although
Yeah.
I mean, I will say that I've got I think the key with the appraisal process really is, at least to me, is not necessarily the attorney. I'd like to think that attorneys win the day all the time, but I don't think that's really the critical part. I really think, having the assessment or appraisal information is really what is the more persuasive part. For example, right now, I've got a Joliet Township appraisal going, or appeal going. We're at the PTAB now and at the Board of Review, for the 2 different years. And they don't have an attorney. I mean, it's a big case. Joliet Township doesn't have an attorney. just the assessors showing up all the time and doing it. But, you know, he's getting ammunition because I think they're working with other appraisers who come up with the information. And so I think my thinking is if you ever have a big case, which that one that you're mentioning is a big one and it's a tough one. I agree with you. You know, that's why I suggested, I thought, combination maybe with the school district, because the school district's got lots at stake.
Right.
And sometimes they will actually go in and they will hire, I mean, a top flight appraiser to support the assessor. And I think that's where the better opportunity to win those kind of cases are. And if you have an attorney, that's fine too. They can, but the attorney's just really arguing the information
Exactly.
that the appraiser's coming up with.
And did you ever, excuse me a minute, Sandra, I think Joe, at the time that contacted you, had suggested that you contact the school board's attorney and to see where they were with this and if they were going to come in and fight it. Did you ever do that?
Yes, I did. I mean,
What was their
then they have not done anything for this particular property. This year, the appeal for this one, for this year, is still coming up. They didn't do anything for 13 yet. I don't know.
Let me know, I'll get engaged.
Wait a minute, no, they did do one for this year. They did one for this year, but they didn't do one for last year.
You mean our school representative?
Yes.
Our business
Yes.
manager, superintendent?
Yes.
Since they're paying, and since that's all our taxpayers and they're
Yeah.
paying, and since the school board has a bigger pot in the
Bigger,
pie,
yeah.
then they're the ones that, you know, you could kind of hinge your star to, because let them pay all the money out for their big attorneys and everything,
Thanks.
and you get Joe when you know.
Yeah,
if
I get you, and I do whenever I can, but I'm gonna say maybe out of 25 commercial properties that we have to defend, maybe only 3 or 4 of them actually get the school board's appraisal. The thing,
Because the cost of those appraisers, I mean, that'd be a couple.
I know it's expensive.
That's a couple $1,000.
I'm not expecting to do it every time, but I'm just saying, you know, when I think it's just like you said, the attorney will come to the board and they'll defend the appellant's appraisal. They didn't do the appraisal, they just defended. And so I'm saying, from standpoint, I don't need the attorney to defend it, but if it's something that they could look through and say, oh yeah, this doesn't seem right, you know, why don't you, you know, take this approach or whatever. That's what I'm talking about. I don't need the attorney there to defend, like the appellants have. But I'm just saying that's what I would suggest.
Well, Joe's always available, so just give him, you know that you can give him a call.
Well, you know, yeah. All right, the third thing is, yeah, and so that's what I'm saying, basically, I still have a need for that. I don't know, Joe, if you are looking at it from the perspective of the assessor most of the time. I don't know. I don't feel like that it was really much I got from you the last time, so.
Well, no, I think what really has, to, at least in that case, I think what really needs to be done is there needs to be, typically the attorney's not going to go out and look for comparable properties and do the income capitalization approach and all that. I mean, that's what appraisers, that's what assessors do. I mean, the lawyer would organize those thoughts, you know, to present it, but as far as coming up with the raw material to
No,
present,
not asking that.
somebody else has got to come up with that.
Not asking that, but what the attorneys do that you just said for the appellants is they defend it. They've gone through that appraisal and they said, here's the good points, here's the weak points, blah, blah, blah. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not to do the appraisal, not to get the raw evidence.
You know,
Yes.
Assessor, I'm in the process of trying to fine tune our school board policy, financial policy. Can you come to maybe our next meeting? I'll put you on the agenda.
Yeah, because we're slowing down and we've been on appeal, so I should have appraised it this month.
Okay, I'll send you an email. I'll send you
Let
an
me
email.
know, yeah.
Okay, right now it's the second Monday in December, 6:30. Second Monday in December,
Write it
6:30.
down.
Usually it's the first, but we use it, I think it's the 8th, if I'm not mistaken. It's 6:30.
Second Monday, December, 6:30.
Yes, I'll put you on the agenda, and we can have some dialogue on there, so we can make sure it's captured. We are doing what we need to do in parallel in partnership with you.
And the last item on here, I still feel that there's a need for increase in this position. I know that it's a certain time when that's done, but I do feel that it's probably timely to have some discussions on it before that, because I really felt like last time we discussed it one day. It was not really enough time. So I did include the information that had been provided for 2012 by the Supervisor of Assessment. I had made a note, an observation that it looks like most of the townships are paying the highway commissioner, the assessor, the same as what the highway commissioner. In most cases, sometimes it was more. And also because the responsibilities and the workload has doubled since there was an increase, I really do think that you need to, give that some more consideration. And then you can see that on the list that I provided to you.
One thing, as I said the last time you brought this up, this does not happen till the fall of 2016. And if we give raises at all, there will be no more than a $2,000 raise probably for any position that's there. We as a township are using taxpayers' money. We don't have a lot of money that we can spend. We have a little bit in our savings, but we're encroaching into that every year, just, maybe $10,000, $12,000. We can't keep that up as a township with the taxpayers' money coming in. It doesn't work. We're doing our levy tonight. Our levy last night, we can levy up to just under 5%, but we don't get that. What we got last year was barely 1.5%. So, and that doesn't cost, the cost of increase of just natural paper going up and everything else going up. There are things that are going up. So we have to think about the responsibilities of the township as a whole. And a part-time job, even though I know you do a lot, Sandra, is different from a full-time highway commissioner job where he's called out on Christmas Day to shovel snow and out for 8 hours away from his family and things like that. There's a lot of difference. But as I said, we will go and do that in the fall of 2016.
Right.
Just do not expect big increases because I'm not certain.
Well, I didn't expect it big and I didn't get anything, so.
Well, I don't even think you can expect big. If you expect more than 2,000, you're way overthinking.
But I'm just saying to write it, to make it, at the level that it should be.
Well.
And I did give you some more information last time about what
Well,
the standards
and
are.
I think actually,
I'm
when
still
you're an
talking.
assessor and you're making part-time, you're making
No,
$32,000
that's the part I'm saying. That's not
a
correct.
year, plus you're getting paid life insurance for another $15,000, $16,000 a year,
Yes.
plus we pay IMRF. I think that's very well paid for a
I know
half-time
you think
position.
so, but I'm saying, I'm giving information that supports that it should be more. And that's what I want the board to
And I'm
review.
saying that that's fine when we've got the information, but I disagree because I think that
I
even
know
though you
you
do
do,
a lot,
Donna.
we all do a lot.
It's
We
more than
all
you
do
if
a
you're on
lot.
board, so.
We all do a lot for the little bit of money. Our trustees make $1,800 a year. They
I
spend in far much more time than they
understand.
get paid for. I've been in here every day for the last 2 weeks doing Thanksgiving baskets, and I'm probably now down to where I'm getting paid 25 cents an hour with my township supervisors. But, again, when you ran for the office, you knew how much the salary was.
No, I didn't.
And I knew
I
how much
wish
the
you would
salary
stop
was.
saying
You
that. I
sure
did
did
not.
the
No.
second time. You sure did know.
And I've been still, and I was asking for an increase.
Well, and I'm sorry, that's not the way township government, you are not an employee, you are an elected official. And as part of
Exactly.
being an elected official,
Yeah.
you have to realize that you're never gonna be compensated for the time and the energy and the effort that you put in.
Well, okay.
And that's just something you have to realize. I really don't-
No, but look at what the information that I gave you to see what other townships are doing. They're not belittling the position of the assessor.
And
They're
we
not,
never have
they're,
to know
okay,
that.
okay.
And their
I
assessors are
guess I
not
can't
working,
talk.
if they're working, getting as much as the highway commissioner, they're full-time, and they're very, very
No,
large.
they aren't. Look at
They
your
are.
list that you
And I've looked
provided.
at them several times before, and they are
Look
very
at your
large
list that you
townships.
provided, you'll see
We
that's
are
not true.
a township of 15,000 people. We have coming in taxes every year for a government that pays its bills and does everything. We receive $534,000 in the supervisor's office this year, which a third of it goes into your office, so the rest is to take care of all the official salaries, because all the official salaries at this time cost the township $111,000. So that's right off the top, before I can even use that to help with the bus and the youth and everything else that takes place. So there's a lot of things that go on, and we don't want to be having to go back to the taxpayers and ask for more money because we are being greedy as township officials. We can't do
I
that.
hope you're not calling me greedy by
I said
asking
we
for-
as
Well, okay,
township
all right,
officials.
now, what I'm saying is, if you still on the first sheet that I gave you, X amount goes back every year to the township. So you may say that you're allocating 1/3, but you're not. And even with what gets spent, it's definitely not. If you look at the comparison of the total compared to
Well,
what
I
gets
think
spent.
it'll be more interesting when we see the comparison coming up for this next January when we're doing federal, we're doing budget, so. But anyway, we
What
will.
was that again? I'm sorry.
I said, we will see the new comparison as what was spent, because I think we did end up spending almost all of your dollars last year. Because by the end of the year, I think we had, like the last minute bills that came in, I think that we had spent most of that. That was only through, it wasn't through the end of March.
I think it was like 8,000.
Yeah, that wasn't through the end of March. We had a lot more that was on there, so you did
No,
say-
yeah, right now it's
Yeah, I think
showing-
it came to about 168, 69,000 was actually spent, so there's only a $3,000 savings, so not that much went back out of your budget.
168.
Yeah, we can, Will can pull that up for you. So
Yeah,
we can
well, no,
find
it
that.
was
I'm
only
just going off the
budgeted
top of my head,
161.
that's just what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
All right, let's move on.
I'm not done, can I
Okay,
finish?
well, finish up quickly, so we
Okay.
can move on.
Again, I would like to continue to give you guys information, because I do feel that when you're more informed, that you can make a decision that will reflect the information that you're getting.
Thank
That's
you.
it.
Are you done now?
Yes, I
Good. Attorney's report?
Nothing new.
Okay, anything you know. All right, let's move into new business. We have the University Park Lions football asking for a social service agreement. They have some good news, and we have Bridget here, Bridget Simmons, she's trying to take some teams down to conference levels. And last year, we gave them $2,500, but we only did that much, because we usually don't give that much to teams, is because the Lions teams had not been back to us for about 4 or 5 years. So we were saying, okay, they haven't been here for 5 years, $500 a year, we can give them the $2,500. So I'm not certain that we can justify too much more this year, but Bridget, would you like to talk a little bit about your teams and why you think it's so important?
Sure, thank you. Excuse my voice.
Oh, poor thing.
But I do want to thank you guys for last year. That was such a blessing that you guys blessed our program to go down to St. Louis. We're basically trying to do the exact same thing that we did last year. We're just pretty much trying to expose our children to different cultures and different cities and different areas. A lot of our children really do not go outside the boundaries of their community, so we're just trying to take them down so they can meet other people. Last year when we went, they met kids from pretty much all over the country, and they formed new friendships and bonds and things like that. They were able to play against teams from different places of diversity and things like that. So it was a very, very successful trip. It was a great experience for the kids. And it was a lot of work on our end, but it was definitely worth all the work that we did. This year, I must be honest, we are in a bind. The reason is because last year we took 2 teams, and 2 teams were able to fundraise, and that's how we were able to get some of the money that we were able to raise last year. Unfortunately, one of the teams dropped out, so now it's 1 team that's going, excuse me, and it's up to 1 team to do the fundraising, which is the younger kids. And pretty much the parents who's up to doing the fundraising. And so we pretty much done all we can at this point, and we've asked as many people as we could to this point, and we really have not gotten positive feedback or any feedback at all from the people that we asked. And so I do not want to put any pressure on you to give us anything that you cannot give. But if you cannot give what we need, then the trip will have to pretty much be canceled, because the trip is next week. And I I wouldn't dare take any money and then cancel the trip and then we keep it. That's just not
Now,
something.
you're saying it's going to cost, you're only one team, you said now, so what is going to be the cost?
The cost is $1,800 for the bus.
It's for the bus?
Yes, that's it. Last year, we did have extra funds to feed the kids. The monies that we had left over from the bus and the registration. This year, we do not have to pay the registration because we have enough rooms. It's 15 rooms per level, which is 30 nights, and that's why they gave us a free registration. So we do not have to pay the $350 registration. So right now, we're just hoping to get the $2,800 to take the bus. We have done the fundraising, which is the cookie dough fundraising, and we get 40% of all the sales. And I am over getting the money and collecting the cookie dough, and so I believe right now we're at the 40% that we would get is about $1,200, and then we're also responsible for paying for the hotel room for the bus driver, and that will be $79 a night for 2 nights. Plus tax, so it'll be about $200.
So it's costing you $1,800 for the bus?
$2,800.
$2,800, okay.
And we generated about $1,200.
And you've got about $1,200, and the children themselves and their families are responsible then for their meals and everything else?
Yes.
So you think you've got about $1,200 coming in, so that leaves about $1,600 that you would be short, is that correct?
Yes, we do have, I have a couple more people turning in some money late, but we don't get we don't generate all of that. We only get 40% of, and everybody was responsible for 20 items.
Have you gone to the Village of University Park since you're a Village of University Park team?
Yes, and we have not gotten any response. And then we wanted to go tagging this weekend, and they gave us a hard time about tag University Park. We tagged about 3 weeks ago, and they gave us a hard time about tagging. And then I got in contact with them this week to ask them if we could tag, but they told me we had to get a permit, and I had to pay for the permit. And I asked them, you know, how long would it take for the permit to be approved? And they told me 2 weeks. And I told them what it was for and everything, so that's what we are doing. So right now, we're in the works of trying to get an emergency permit so the kids can actually go out tagging on Saturday.
All right, Board, what do you want to do?
Donna, the last time they was here, the $2,500 we gave them, which budget did it come out?
It comes out of our donations budget.
Donation?
Mhm. And
The social service?
social services, of which right now we've got $5,900 left, and we still, you know, there's some monthly charities, yeah, $5,900 left.
And I think there's an opportunity, our youth budget, we haven't expended any money since, I believe, we paid our last bill back in the spring. And it could be a blessing. They haven't cast a check? Well, let's go get that check.
So there's another check out there for how much?
For Governor's Day?
Right.
I have to check to make sure how much it is, but I don't think that check has been kept.
But about $1,600 maybe.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
so I would say there's only $7,000 left in the budget. If you're starting your program in the spring, you're gonna have through March 30th that you have to, pay if you get Governor's Day again. So say if you even have 15 weeks at $200, what's that? $30,000. So you might have another, you might have about $4,000 in there.
Well, let's not forget the motorbike.
The motorbike program, which we can't afford to start this year, by the way. We don't have it, it's not been budgeted into our, was that budgeted into that?
Well, I got a camera in mind, so I got a plan in mind. No, it wasn't budgeted,
All right,
but I'll talk more about it
all right.
when we get into that part of it. So Bridget, let me ask you this question. How much do you think you short in order to make this trip work?
1,600, is that?
Approximately.
$1,600.
$1,600?
Yeah, I would say 60. Right now, we're just trying to do is pay for the bus. That's pretty much all we're doing.
And the bus is 18?
It's 18, 28.
28.
28.
Last year our goal was the bus and to feed the kids, and we reached that goal last year. But we had more participants in fundraising versus this year with the young ones. And we had about 30 kids last year who fundraised. And that's how we got a lot of our money. And of course, from your donations, that's how we got the bus. And we were able to pay for the kids to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner Friday, Saturday, and then on Sunday.
But now, those meals will have to be on the parents, is that what you're saying this time? Okay.
Now, is every parent going for every kid?
Yes, that's mandatory.
Okay.
Is how many kids?
30.
And how old are they?
They're 90.
That's the only team,
The only thing,
the Pee Wee team.
just the big team.
Is this connected with the Will Cook Kankakee Youth Association page? Are they the same?
We're under that umbrella.
And how much are each parent contributing to the
Well,
cause? You say that the parents are gonna ride the bus, right? The parents, you say?
they have that option
Okay,
of riding the bus. Excuse me.
we're getting
To
there.
generate some funds, we told them each family that rides the bus would have to pay $30 per family, but everybody wants to pretty much drive themselves so they can sightsee.
So last year, did we fill the bus? Because we had two teams last year, right? We were only talking about one team. So is it a possibility or a high probability that the bus will not be completely filled? But we plan on filling that bus. How big is it, a coach bus or a school bus?
It fits 56.
56.
50.
So we have, so we have 13 players,
We have 13 players, and we have
the coaches?
4 coaches, and then we have
Parents.
No. Yeah, even if we had all 13 parents, I'm just like, can we downsize the bus?
Well, it wouldn't matter because the fee would still be the same.
That's what I'm saying, no, not be
Would the fee
downsize the
still be the
bus.
same?
the fee we're gonna say, I don't know, I would have to speak to, at this point, I don't know if we can find a smaller bus,
Okay.
or we've already put down a deposit for the bus.
And I think that it's probably gonna be the same with the bus and the bus, and because they still have to pay the driver. Well, at this late date, as we said,
Yeah, that
it's.
could be a possibility, but I hate to expend and you only capturing half of what you're paying the services
But
for.
they had to commit to the bus.
I know, I understand that, but, here we are. I might take a ride on
I wish my grandson
this.
was.
What day is it?
involved in this.
Next week, next weekend?
Yeah, so they can,
Thanksgiving weekend?
Yeah.
Friday, well, right after Thanksgiving, which is early Friday morning, we leave at 2 a.m.
They're giving up their time with their kids.
Wow.
All right, guys, it's gonna take about $1,600 is what Bridget is saying would help her. It's basically $1,600 is about the only thing that would let you guys do this.
Yes, so everybody, we all know it's a possibility that it would be canceled, so it's no, stress on you guys, and no pressure on you guys. They pretty much know, I've pretty much told our board and the coaches who were going that it's a possibility because one of the teams, they backed out about 2 weeks ago, and we was not sure where we were financially because they.
And you will lose your deposit with the bus and the whole bit too, right?
We'll lose the deposit.
Right.
And the kids are pumped up to go.
Yeah, they're more excited about going swimming.
The hotel.
Okay, so what has their record been so far this year?
This year we were 4-4.
But they qualify for this tournament.
Yes, last year we placed third in the tournament, and then this year we made it to the second round of the playoffs. So,
Now, knowing that this might come up every year, is there something that you can do next year so that you are pre-planning for funds for this type of event?
absolutely, it is. Last year when we came, every year you just kind of don't know what kind of teams you're going to have, and so you don't know which teams you want to take. If you want to take one team, or if you have the talent on the team to take 3 teams. And so our program has been in a bind this year because we reduced the price in registration for the people to participate this year because we've had problems with people not able to participate because the fees were high. And so this year was a hard year for us because this year we had to pay the insurance, and then we had to get the helmets redone, and that took a lot of pretty much the bulk of our budget. Because by law, you have to get the helmets redone on the inside, the padding on the inside. And so that's pretty much what really took a big chunk out of the budget.
But you're thinking about that, so that next year you probably would try to build in and have more tag days or something so that.
Yes, so next year we don't have to pay, I think the insurance we pay every 3 years, so that won't be an insurance year, it won't be a helmet year. Whatever we already have is what we'll be able to use.
My suggestion is, and that, now it's possible that this still might be canceled even if we give you the $1,600? No? Yes or no? No, okay. Well, here's my suggestion, is that we go ahead and authorize $1,600.
Will that lock in the bus for you guys? The $1,600 she's talking about?
Yeah, so that would give them the bus. If for some reason that the money, if anything is canceled after that, then I don't know, what would we say that she should give the money back, or, what?
I would also look at the opportunity, Bridget, to just, it doesn't hurt to ask, and I don't know what type of contract you enter, but to see if you can go down the direction and the path to obtain a smaller bus. And if some costs could be saved from that point of view. It doesn't hurt to ask, to say, we expected this happened, we got X amount of kids, we got this size bus. Can we maximize our space here, become more efficient?
And
So
she can do that, but that's what we have to make the night before she does that, so,
And it can be contingent on too, if we expend this $1,600, whatever, and you come to find out that you can get a smaller bus and it's X amount of dollars less, then she can bring it back, a portion of that $1,600 back to us.
But, see, my concern is this, is that if we fund the $1,600, of course, she's gonna have to let the team know we got the money to go. And then she may end up having a full bus.
Well,
And she can't.
But you're talking about,
She can't.
last year you had 2 teams, you have 1 team now, right? And that's why you guys went down the avenue to get a bigger bus for 2 teams. And what was the reason the other team is not showing up this time?
Actually, they got hurt.
They got-
We
Okay.
did a tournament about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was in Indiana, and their rules are different. Like our rules are age and weight,
Okay.
and their rules were age and grade. So we were, they were a lot bigger than some of our people today. So some of their kids got hurt. So the ones that were going to St. Louis trip got hurt and wasn't able to come. So
See, I don't expect those riders to increase that much.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility. It's a possibility, especially if there's inclement weather. And it'd be easier for somebody to ride the bus that's a parent of one of the kids rather than drive. Okay.
But even if you go with 1 parent per kid, you have 26 right there, plus 4 coaches is 30, plus some others. You're talking about, what, a 50, 60 passenger bus? Yeah.
I see no reason why, she can look into it, but I don't wanna lock her into it.
No, I don't
I
think
don't
we
wanna lock her
can.
into that, okay, because she's already put down a down payment.
Right. I think that we have to, you know,
Oh,
trust.
you mean lock her into?
Downsize.
Right.
Oh, no, you have to go with worst case scenario. So,
We
but
will
there's
go-
an option here. It doesn't hurt to ask.
I agree.
Because we did that.
But
once
the other
before.
thing is that her bus is 2,800, and even if she knocks it down to 2,600, she's talking about, she hasn't even collected all the cookie money yet, which is, there might be $1,200 coming in, and then there might be less, but she's not gonna have all that by next week anyway.
But worst
so,
case scenario,
you know, she's
she
probably
needs
gonna end up
$1,600.
She needs worst
That's
case
worst
scenario.
case scenario right now,
Well,
right?
that's the best case scenario, 1,600, because I think she might end up needing.
Is that best case? Is that worst case? You're saying that even if you didn't get the $1,200, or are you including like cookie money and all of that in this?
That's
But
good.
you haven't obtained those funds.
I'm waiting for some of the late dwindlers to come through with what they have.
But you confident they committed to providing that money?
So you could end up needing more than $1,600, is that what you're saying?
No, I don't think so.
All right, let's go ahead. We've kind of got the facts. I'd suggest that, and I tell you what, this is going to happen with this contingent too, because this is sending a group that, for $1,600, that this next one up, which is Monee Mavericks, we've already given them $500 this year. They are now also going down into some championship tournaments and asking for some help with that, which means that we probably are going to have to try to give them $1,000 too. So we're, all in all, we'll be taking about $2,600 out of the social service agreement, because we can't do one without the care of the other.
Social service.
How much
not
support
you.
do they have?
Social service
Thank
agreement.
How much support do they have? Oh, we're talking about the
Right,
Mavericks.
okay, let's go back now. I just want to tell you what, that one thing is going to be contingent on another thing, because we can't,
I agree.
it has to be equal here.
I agree.
Okay, so, all right, what I'd like to see is that we do go ahead with the $1,600, because they haven't asked for anything else this year, and even though it's normal, above what we normally do, I think that it does give the youth an opportunity to see something outside of their own village that they live in, and to experience some things that they'll probably find valuable in life, so. Is there a motion, please?
So moved.
So it's moved to give $1,600 for social service agreement to the University Park Lions football organization. And that's moved by Debbie. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Maurice. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Rose?
Yes.
Hold on, just clarity. The funds are coming out of the
Social service, yeah, they are not coming out of you. They are coming out of our social service. At the end of the year, if we have more social service, we'll take it out of contingencies and transfer.
What do we have, 50, what,
Right.
20,000 social service, 50?
We have 10,000 in social services. We've spent
At the beginning.
4,100. We've got 5,900 left to spend before March 30th. And we do have a couple of groups that come in, but that's, we can handle that for right now. And if necessary, something emergency comes up, we can take money out of contingencies and transfer it. So it's not a problem. All right, so there's a vote.
Trustee Rose? Yes.
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Edwards?
Yes. Okay.
Can I say one thing though?
Thank you so much.
As John was talking about the future, we used to provide transportation for our students to go places, and we get a bus, and we'd have 7 kids on it, and it costs us like $60 a person just to go from Sauk Village to Governor State. And I hope that you guys will figure out a way, because it's really a good money.
But the other thing with this, Terry, is that they're not only doing that, they're taking it and going like to St. Louis.
Oh,
plus
no, we did that too.
Then they're staying, 2
I know
nights and having to
exactly
pay
about
the
the
bus
bus
driver
ride.
and
You
everything.
know, I just thought of an idea, and I don't know if this will work. Renting a bus big enough for your needs, and there's several people in University Park They have CDL licenses that used to be involved in UP Lions. So it's just an idea.
For next year possibly, because this year it's too late with the budget.
It's just an idea. It's just, I mean, we're brainstorming, so, you know, it's just an idea.
I know I take yearly my youth in my church to a ski trip once a year. And this one particular year, we did not have the capacity. A lot of fell out at the last, maybe about a week before, and the wife was able to make a call and was able to downsize that bus.
Maybe,
Next time you go on the ski trip,
Ken,
let me know.
We go on it every year.
Because we're like, we did the same thing for a college.
So that's just an
tour,
opportunity.
And we had, it was a half bus, and it seemed like it was ideal bus company. We did it too.
Everybody, bus
Yeah,
company
I'm
had
definitely
to
gonna look into it, and I'm gonna try to make a few calls this weekend too, to maybe those, vans, those larger vans, I think they was 8 or 9, 12
15
passenger vans.
passenger
I'm
vans.
definitely gonna
go.
okay, let's move on to
Make sure you have a
the,
licensed driver for it.
let's move on to Monee Mavericks football and cheer, another social service agreement. They, as I said, we've expended $500 this year to help them with their total program, and they did very well.
I
Their
think I
light,
actually matched that too.
the lightweight level came out undefeated in the regular season, and then they went on to the playoffs, the Super Bowl, and I think they won that. They said,
They had one team to
and,
win.
let's see, Super Bowl winning 18-0, and now they are going someplace else.
They're
a long
going
way
to
with my-
Texas. They're
That was
going
a
to
long way
Texas
with my
now.
son was the
I'm
first
sorry?
quarterback.
This is for Texas.
But now they're
They didn't
going,
win a game.
now they're going to Texas, and so they're looking for, they're fundraising to help with the cost of this great experience, so.
You know, this is truly a success story.
Right.
It really is.
It is, and if you read that, they've really done a lot, what it says.
National Champions Tournament in December. This is in
Right,
Texas.
this is end of December,
Yeah.
lightweight varsity.
And I think the cheerleaders, I thought I read something.
They won something
They
too. I
won
think.
something here, yeah.
Right.
Even the cheerleaders.
And the super lights and varsity players worked hard but didn't do well, but the junior varsity did very well. And, you know, they came out ahead in the, I guess they came just short of their, it was 27-6 in the
I
tournament.
actually would like to recognize them. In
Well,
person, you know, down the road, with some pizza or something here, coming out of the youth.
Well, I think we're recognizing them, I did it. You know,
They're in UP Lions.
and maybe we could get them to become that. But anyway, it says, the Maverick season is not over yet. Some players from the lightweight and junior varsity teamed up together to compete in the Battle of Spartan Nation football tournament in Lansing, Michigan. The Maverick events did not allow a single point scored on them throughout the tournament. The Mavericks became the Battle of Spartan Nation champions. With winning the tournament, the Mavericks were offered to go to Dallas, Texas to play in the national champion tournament in December. And it doesn't give me a list of what monies they need, unfortunately. But my thinking is if we are going to, we've already spent $500, I would, so they say to keep things even, it probably would be very nice for us to donate $1,000 to their cause.
In the social service.
In a social service agreement. Thank you, Joe.
That we're donating.
Yeah. So and the cheerleaders, they went and they won, took first place.
Do they actually fund the cheerleaders? Do they support the cheerleaders? Or is that is it kind of a package deal?
They're probably all part of the same team. I know when my kids were in the Lions football, the cheerleading team was all part of that, right, and part of the whole thing.
I went to that banquet they had at the University Park Golf Course the week before. Who had it? The EP cheerleaders was a part of that also.
They were,
The awards thing, you know.
okay.
All right, guys, tell me what you want to do.
I'll accept your recommendation, make the motion that we fund $1,000 for the Monee Mac football and cheerleading team in the form of a social service agreement
So they can take their trip to Texas?
to Dallas, Texas, to play in the national champions tournament in December.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Debbie. Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Trustee Bowles,
Yes.
trustee Brown,
Yes.
trustee Burgess,
Yes.
trustee Young,
Yes.
supervisor Medlin.
Yes. Okay. All righty. Now we need to approve tax levy ordinance for it says 2013, that's incorrect. It's for it is from 2014, collectible in 2015. We have two. We have the road district and the township. As I said before, this is our wish list that they give us this much, which we will see, but we levy just under the 5%, because that's all we can. It's a tax cap county. And, but what we will get is probably, if we're lucky to get, 1% will be a miracle, because, this last time we got about 1.5, and, so you can't count on it, but we have to ask for as much as we can, and it's based on 5% of the last tax extension that they gave us last year. So that's where the totals come from, is what they actually gave us, and then we go from there.
I do have a question, I guess I'll wait till a motion comes.
Well, we need to vote these motions separately. We need a motion for the, we need a motion for the Monee Township tax levy ordinance, which covers the general town fund and the GA fund. And do I need to leave totals, or is that good enough just to?
I could cite for the record the total taxes levied on it.
Okay, total taxes were as to be levied is the general town fund for $560,529, and general assistance $49,109, for a total of $609,638.
So,
Moved by Maurice, second by Terry. Any discussion?
I guess the question, I'm not sure exactly how this was worded before, but I think us and a few other townships were in the paper that there is some group out there that kind of spy on these different townships and government entities as it relate to charging, or not charging, but levying a little bit more, 3%. I'm not sure. Remember that happened to us?
They will never come to us, because those are the townships that have a huge back.
No, once before we was on that list, because I think the thing was, we over-levied over a certain percentage.
I think it was something done by a former board, the board before us.
Okay,
And-
but what was that?
Yeah, it was something that was done by a former board, and it's some watchdog group that comes in.
Yeah, some
And we
watchdog, yes.
basically had to show them that we weren't over levying type of a thing.
Right,
And,
right, even though we can,
Right.
even though this 1.7%
1.5.
levy, or 1.5, whatever.
Go above 1.5 or you have to do a black box referendum.
Well, whatever CPI, whatever CPI is, whatever that was, or whatever it is. So we go 1.5, 1.7. And,
1.5, not above 1.5.
no, whatever CPI is. I don't know if CPI is 1.5, 1.7.
CPI cost, what we get back from the county clerk will say that CPI is 1.15, which is, not 1.015, which is like we're getting 1.5% increase. Not, and that doesn't add to the 5%. That's, you know, so we'll ask for up to 5%, we ask for just
Yeah,
under
but we
that.
can-
But they give us much less in the CPI, so she says, no, it's not 5%, it's 1.5.
Yeah, whichever one is less, CPI or tax cap, 5%, whichever one is less.
And it's always a lesser, I can tell you that.
Oh,
It's never higher.
I agree, but I just didn't know exactly what that was and what drove us to be caught as one of these, by one of these watchdogs.
I have no idea, because they do different things
I'm
all
going
the
back
time.
a few years.
Right,
I just
and it
wanna
wasn't
make
done by
sure
this board at
If
all.
it was 3% over what the last levy was, something.
And it has to do something with your budget and can you prove this and that and the other
Right.
thing. And I don't remember what it was. I just remember whatever it was, we satisfied them very easily because we could show that, you know, our GA alone, we spent more than
Can we
that.
fine tune that and find out exactly what
I
that's
just
for
don't-
for the next time?
I don't think we're gonna have to worry about it, Maurice. I just don't know what it was and I don't know where to even start with it, so.
Okay, I'll look it up. I
Yeah.
know it's something that, I'll bring it back.
Yeah, but it's not anything that we're gonna have to worry about because we don't get enough tax dollars coming into our district to do that. It's just that it's used, we can show, we've got our budgets and everything else and we show that we use, you know, and then we're not overtaxing. In fact, we are undertaxing, if anything, because we are supposed to keep by, you know, as recommended by, the state, that we should have a surplus, not a surplus, but a,
Reserve.
you know, we should have at least enough to last a year, if not 2 years, without, you know, if something would happen and we lose all taxpayers' dollars. And we don't have that. We probably don't even have enough over and above what we spend every year in our budget that comes in from taxpayers. We probably don't even have 6 months. So I don't think there's anybody that's gonna come after us on anything. What happened with the former budget is that they had done a black box referendum of some kind, and I'm not certain why they did that.
Because they went to cap 5%.
Yeah, they went over
Went
5%.
over 5%.
Right, they did that, but I know that, but I don't know the
But they only get
reason they
CPI.
published, I don't know the reason they
You have
published
to.
that. Well, no, you're misunderstanding me. I know if you go over 5%, you
Yeah.
have to do a black box referendum. What I'm saying is that in that black box referendum, you have to explain why you are doing a black box referendum and why you need more than 5%. I don't know why they asked for more than 5% at that time, because that was the years we were not in office. So I think that whatever inquiry had to do with that.
Well, and when you said we're only going, what percentage?
Yeah, we're
4?
1.495%, because I stayed under the 5%. And that's what we asked for, which we will not get. But then we go up, we go up as far as we can without going over the 5%.
I see Crete Township, they're gonna have a budget hearing. I mean, a special
Right.
meeting.
They can do that.
They're going up to 5%.
Yeah, they can do it for a referendum.
Yeah, they're going up 5%.
Yeah.
On both, on
If
both.
it's over, okay.
Yeah.
It was in the paper.
So they're going, they want to go over that. Okay, we're back to, we have a motion and a second, and we were doing roll call vote.
Trustee Bowles,
Yes.
trustee Brown,
Yes.
trustee Burgess,
Yes.
trustee Young,
Yes.
supervisor Nevin.
Yes. All right, now we
I have
have
one question in general about what we levy and then what we get. Are you saying that the amount that you request, that 5% additional, you're not getting?
we don't
You only
ever,
get what
we
you
get
got
whatever the
last
clerk.
time plus maybe 1.5%. That's
You
what you're
get
saying?
CPI.
Mm.
CPI, whatever, which is, if it's 1.5,
Right.
that's what we would get over the previous year.
Basically,
Right.
the $534,000 we got in the supervisor's budget last year, and we'll probably get maybe 1% more,
Mhm.
sometimes 1.5. Last year, 1.5. I don't know if it'll be 1.5 this year, might be only 1%. And sometimes they can do 0 and not give us any percent. So it's all up to whatever the county clerk figures everything out.
And does it matter at all, like how much you have in reserve? That was my other question.
It doesn't matter that.
Do they have to consider how much you have in reserve to
No,
meet your budget?
No, They have a computation thing that they go by. They don't care what your budgets are. They don't look at any of that. They're looking at assessed evaluation, they're looking at, I guess they have some magic wand that they figure out what the CPI is, so, unless you know better to flip down, they figure it out, do you?
No, well, again, the budget is just one component of that levy.
Yeah,
That levy takes-
but the levy is we have to get that to get the money to expend,
Mhm.
and then you do a budget to break down how you're actually going to
See,
do
but
it.
usually you go higher than what you want, so you can capture new property.
Right,
See, we don't know what the new property, and that's not in, you know that better than all of us, until like April of next year, when they captured all the new property and say, you know what? Because that's part of the EAV, right? So, and our levy is based on the whole, you know, the district.
and
the
because
EAV.
we haven't had a lot of new property because of this, for the last long time, we are assuming
Million,
that
2 million.
it's gonna be not up more than 5%, so we capture that. If
So-
we thought we were getting, that's why the TIFs are important. If the TIFs were going to come back and be done, then we'd say, okay, we've got $100 million in EAV being added on. The only way we can recapture that is that if we do then a black box referendum and say, okay, if that's more than 5%, say it's more than 5%, then we'd have to do a black box referendum on that, so. Okay, let's do the road district. Is there a motion to approve the Monee Township Road District Tax Levy Ordinance for the amount of the general road fund of $808,902 and the equipment and building fund of $92,574 for a total of $901,476. $901,476. I do want to make a little explanation here that will show you that the amount of money that we have come in to the road district, which is that $808, you have to figure that about 36% of that then does not stay with the road district. About 36% of that then goes and given to the village of Monee and the village of University Park and as what, for road district funds? Yeah. So that comes out of our budget. And once we're given that once, then we have to give it away.
Huh?
35,
36,
34%?
it's 36%.
I think it is, yeah.
I missed the figure, Don, 36%.
About 36%
Of the
of that
general road fund?
$808.92, and also 36% of the
Yeah, it's
$92,000.
about 20.
808,000.
$808,902, 36% of that will go to the villages, and the same thing with the equipment and building.
Some odd $1,000.
Yes, it is. So, I mean, we're not, so I just want everybody to understand that that's not the money that we get in, and,
I did not know that.
yes, I mean,
Really?
right.
So is it split up?
It is split up
Evenly proportional?
No.
5%, and how big they are, right, and based on.
Yeah, it's different, it's a different formula for you.
So do we actually cut?
Part
the
fours
check?
don't get that
We
much.
actually cut
We
the
cut
check,
them a
the money
check.
comes to
Yeah.
us, we actually cut
We
the
gotta
check.
pay so much to them.
Right,
Yeah, oh yeah.
and that's
There's ways
for,
around that, but,
and that's for their road maintenance, right, and their
Yeah.
built, right, so that actually goes to
because
other
they're
places.
paying taxes to us.
Right,
Yeah, as well as they should.
Yeah, they're paying taxes to the township.
Okay, and we give money back
So we give them some money.
to take care of their village. roads.
and the amount is figured out for us by the clerk's office,
I
and
did
they
not know
send it bills, but I figured it out, it's about 36%, so I just wanted to put that in as a side before,
information.
yeah, just for your information.
Yeah,
Okay,
they had
is there a
big
motion,
payroll.
please, to approve the road district tax levy? Debbie, okay. Second?
Second.
Terry, second, okay. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Gold?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Yes. All right. Sandra, did you bring your line item transfer that Willa had asked you about?
I think so. No, it's in the, with the invoice.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I did.
It's just there's one item that was out of sync, and that's the unemployment tax, which we had to, $44.08 to find us, but.
Right. We made a transfer for 200 for the covenant.
While we're waiting for that, everybody, if you want to look at your, there's a certificate that Bobby put on the table for the Township Officials of Illinois Political Action Committee PAC. The township did not pay for this because it's for it's called Toy Pack, which is, you know, it helps with the township legislation so, but we can't do it as a township, but Bobby, out of the goodness of his heart, made a political donation for us, and so now we have a certificate. But it came out of his money.
Who has the color?
I do.
Thank you, Bob.
Well, thanks, Bob. I appreciate it.
Made it once before, too.
All right, well, let's move on. If we will have to go back to find that line item transfer, if it's not there, and we will come back to that. Let's go into old business. You have your drafts of the Monee Township employee policy, and let me make sure that everybody understands this. This is the basic handbook for employees, and, you know, township officials are not really employees, so we don't get vacations, and we can, you know, take time off when we want to. So this is basically an employee handbook. We had made some changes last time, so I had put some pages in. We had changed, I think, a little note on the disclaimer page, so that's why you have a new page that you're able to insert into your manual. And it was basically, we just took out the bottom paragraph, and we changed. So it reads, Monee Township reserves the right to alter, amend, and rewrite this manual at any time. These guidelines will be filed with the township clerk and are available to the public under the Freedom of Information Act. And that's basically with that revision. Then there's a revision on the welcome to Monee Township, but I think what it was is that I had found the mission statement, right, quality and apparel customer service. I think what I had done is found a typo, so I fixed the typo.
Well, I was trying to find revise, so I just put the original. I wasn't here, but page 2, and put it, okay, all right.
I found a typo someplace, I don't know what it is, but I did do a typo. Then there was revised page III, and I think that was a typo I found in there too.
Which page are you on?
It was III, revised page III, which is
Okay.
3.
Okay, so that's there.
And that was a typo, so that wasn't changed. Let's see. And
The 3 eyes.
there was revised page 9, which was the employee status definitions, and we just added in this the exempt employee, which is what Willa is. A full-time employee who is exempt from overtime pay is provided under the state and federal law, and whose rate of pay is based on an annualized or monthly basis without regard to the number of hours worked. So she means basically she's not paid overtime.
Is she the
Wait a
only
minute,
exempt?
wait, which page? Okay.
That's
I see, I got it.
revised page
Right,
9,
I got it.
so that was what was added in. Now, I also want to tell you that is, in the formatting of this, Willa will clean up later on. I had basically taken the Homer Township manual. I've looked at manuals from many different townships, and this was the most organized one, so I kind of used it as a prototype. And then I pulled off different pages from TOI's website, because they have a suggested manual, and I would take pages from the other ones as I saw which was the best one. And so it's kind of a, you know, but the basis is the Homer, which is better organized than any of them, so. Okay, so that was that one. Now we have revised page 10, where I added the exempt full-time employee is entitled to all benefits enumerated in this guide except for overtime. So that's basically added. Revised page 11, I'm not certain why that was revised. Maybe just by accident. because I might have just printed it out in accident, so I don't think there's anything that I changed on that. 15, 16,
I saw something on 15.
17.
Go back to 15. You didn't have a revision in 15, but on your draft 15, page 15,
okay,
number 5, Monee Township vehicle.
right.
Couple, did you clear that one up?
Oh, the 2 Ps?
2 Ps.
Okay, we'll have to change that, fix that, right. 2 Ps, I just saw that now. I see double in one eye.
That's
But you
all
see,
right.
that's my problem on that.
I see
All
dead
right,
people.
I will, yeah, okay, thank you. Thank
Okay.
you for catching up.
All right.
Okay, 17, page 18 is one we have to think about. This is the one that I said that I have this on 2 different places differently. This is where resignation, if an employee resigns, and we're still talking,
You had a revision sheet for that?
no, because this is something that I just had Mark talk about, because we talked about it last time, and there was nothing decided on it. Basically, and this isn't done by other townships, but it was done by my job, which was, they compensated for some unused sick time if you resigned, and we're talking full-time employees here. If you resigned, your unused sick time would be compensated to 20 days accrued, and personal days will not be compensated. Now, most other townships do not pay anything. It just says unused sick time will not be compensated. And the only reason I put that in, because I thought, well, it's important to have people on the job, and sometimes if people are getting ready to quit, they want to start taking, sick days because they know that, that they're going to lose them. So that was why I said for 20 days. But now I might change that to say they would pay like at a half day, like a 0.5 on the hour, instead of being paid for.
And so what do we have, only 4 employees?
We actually
How
have
many?
3. We've got David has 2, and Willa is basically full-time. We're talking full-time employees. And Willa doesn't count for,
Okay, David's not
right,
considered.
David, she's exempt, so she would be.
Okay.
So what is only 2?
So there's 2 under David.
Then that's it?
Right.
Yeah, so I got 2,
Right.
2 full-time, yeah.
And also, David has the right to have some policies, and Sandra also, not to, these are the type of policies that they can make within their own decisions, and so she doesn't have a full-time, so it doesn't account for her, but for David it does, and he would have to decide. On page 22, I have the same clause in here, but I took it out, and it's like number 15. If the employee terminates his employment, there will be no compensation for any unused accumulated sick time. If unearned sick time is taken by the employees, that's, that would, they'd have to pay it back. So I had 2 different things there. So I have one no here, and I have, yeah, you can have some here. So I didn't know how the board would feel, and that was something that I figured that it'd be up to you guys. And I think if we did that at 20 hours, I think we should say will be compensated, if we do it at all, at half pay, up to 20 hours.
So is it better to go to 10 days?
And then, or 10 days. Okay, that's everything the same, right? Full, yeah, if we did that. Either that or go along with what all the other townships have in their manuals, which is that it's just, there will be no sick pay. I mean, if you resign, you're not paid for your sick time or your personal day.
You see, I
Is
got a
that best
problem.
practice?
I got a problem.
With not getting your sick time?
Yeah, I mean, if you have an employee who is stable on the job, who's got a strong work ethic, and they have 40 hours, if they want to move on, and they never used the 40 hours, why not pay them? I would say at least half of it, okay? All right, because you've never had a problem with their attendance record, okay? I just would not want to see them lose the entire 40 hours because they decided they getting ready to leave and go elsewhere.
And I believe you should work until you drop.
Okay.
Forget all this vacation days and.
And and as I said, it kind of goes along with my thinking, because if they think that they're gonna be cheated out of it, they're all of a sudden start taking a bunch of sick days at the very end, and then you don't have that employee when you might need that employee. That was where my thinking is on that.
I just think that when it comes to an employee demonstrating integrity and a strong work ethic, they need to be compensated.
I do like the idea of changing it from 20 days to 10 days as a max. So they are getting some pay, but we are taxpayers, we are not a corporation, so we can't, we can't pay at the same level that corporations do. So I think that we could modify that to 10 days, and that kind of covers, keeping somebody in here and.
Is somewhere in the middle there.
Now, what page are you looking at?
Now we're looking at page 18. And then if we change that, then I'd have to change the clause on page 22.
That's where I was, page 2.
Right, so that says no, and my page 18 says, unused sick time will be compensated 20. I want to change that to 10, and the personal days will not be compensated.
Well, how many sick days do you get again? Is that accumulated over 4 hours of pay period?
Six paid sick days per year for a full-time employee, and
6
they,
days per year?
And you can
Right.
carry them over?
and they can be carried to, let's see, it says it in here, I think 30 days,
You can carry up to 30 days over?
right.
And then
You can accumulate 30 days. And that sometimes happens if somebody gets very sick, and you sometimes need that, the 30 days.
So if you do not have any sick days and you get sick, you don't get paid for that day?
No, you're not if you're not, part-time don't get paid at all, full-time are, 6 days per year, and followed by, they earn a rate of sick, at a rate of 0.5 days for each calendar month worked, accumulating to a total of 30 days. Which I think is pretty fair.
I mean, if they accumulate sick days, they should get all of their days.
We're not
When they
a
leave?
business, we're not a corporation.
I mean, if they,
But that's my
That's-
question.
that's their
If it's
benefit.
Well, it's a benefit, but it's also a benefit that you don't have to ever pay. I mean, you don't have to pay them for 6 days that they're not there to take.
But that's one of the
I mean,
arguments,
only
though,
if
if they have it,
if they have
and
it.
they know they're leaving, and they
Okay.
start using it sporadically,
Yeah,
to such an extent that, it's not viewed as an abuse. The alternative to that would be that they continue to come to work, but should they lose it when they leave?
I would
I'm willing to
think,
meet you
As I
halfway.
said, I'm ready to go 10.
I lost mine when I left.
Right, I mean, most people.
just saying.
But
I work with
you
two.
knew you was leaving, right? Why didn't you use it?
If I had work to do.
Okay, you have, see, that's integrity. To me, I think you need to be rewarded for not using it and creating a problem on the job that somebody else might have to clean up. Okay, I would not want to see you walk out the door and lose all of it.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that either.
Yeah, but a lot of companies do not pay at all, and no other townships do.
Well, that's
So-
why I'm willing to meet you halfway on it, but I don't want to see that employee, that type of employee,
All right.
lose all of it.
All right, then halfway is that we will, 15 days. If we're saying they can accumulate up to 30 days, then we will go 15 days. Otherwise, they can be paid up to 30 days at a half rate, which is still 15 days. So let's do it 15 days. Okay? Everybody agree?
15 days?
That's good with you, Debbie? All right. So we will do this as 15, and then I will change, that's on page 15.
That's
And then
18.
on page 18. And then on page 22, I will change this to say, paid to 15 days. All right. At full pay. Okay, those will be taken care of. I will redo another revision.
You're gonna have to change on page 20, then where's that number 4 then?
What's number 4?
All sick time accumulated after the full-time employee reaches 30 days will be forfeited.
It would be, because they can only accumulate up to 30.
Okay.
Anything over that will be forfeit, okay? All right, okay. That doesn't, all right, then we
So
have
wait a
a
minute, just
change.
for clarification, we're changing 18 to 15 days.
Right, and then page 22 will, instead of where it says no, it will, I will change that to read 15 days in there.
Joe, what did you just read just a second?
Yeah, I don't think it would apply.
It doesn't
On page 20, number 4.
Right, it
that-
doesn't
That deals with the fact that you can't accumulate more
Over
than
the 30
more than
days.
30
Okay, doesn't have anything to do.
No, I don't think it
Against it.
All right, there's revised page 26, where again, I put in, at the second, top of the second paragraph, I started it with full-time exempt employees and their spouse are provided paid health insurance. Qualified full-time employees are provided paid health insurance, but if the employee options for spouse or family coverage, the employee is responsible to pay the extra charges. That is presently what David is doing, and that's, since we don't have, I don't have a full-time employee other than an exempt employee, I think that would work out fine, just to list it as for the whole township. So that's changed there, that's why that's revised. Now, let's see. Then there is page 28. We changed the discipline thing, where before we added a clause. By signing this handbook, the employee agrees that Monee Township does not have a progressive discipline policy. The township may impose any of these methods of discipline depending upon the nature of the violation. And that was to clarify it, and that's what we added last month.
What you just read, isn't that a double statement?
No, well, that's what they wanted. You wanted us to clarify the statement.
Okay, right, I remember that. By signing this handbook, the employee
Right.
agrees that Monee Township does have a progressive
Does
or
not
does not?
have.
Does
a
not.
Does not have a
Right.
progressive.
It means that we can go from step one. I mean, the best thing is if you've got a problem with an employee is that you talk to them and say, I'm sorry, please don't do
Right,
that
that's
again.
good
And then the
manners.
second would be, well, no, you need a day off. And the third would be 2 days. We don't necessarily have that, but we can, but if it's a really bad thing they do, then we can go immediately to termination. So, I mean, that's why that's spelled out that
Okay,
way.
but you had a second sentence in there right after
Which
that.
that was what we added last month. The township may impose any of these methods of discipline depending upon the nature of the violation. So it's saying we can go down a progressive way, or we can just go directly to termination.
But shouldn't we indicate what those methods of discipline are?
Well, I think it's all spelled out
Where?
in here.
Where? I don't see it.
Oh, you mean as far as like 2 days off, 3 days
No,
off?
the method of discipline, counseling, written reprimand.
No.
Suspension,
let's see,
immediate
we had-
termination.
what do we
No,
have?
in my mind,
these
wait a
are
minute.
at-will employees.
I understand that, but I also want to be fair and allow them some type of security in doing their job comfortably, okay? And all I'm asking is the statement that the way it was written. By signing this handbook, the employee agrees that Monee Township does not have a progressive discipline policy. Period. That's clear in my
So you
mind.
want to take away?
No, that
last-
statement is clear in my mind because it came up last month.
Now, I have that
No,
note,
but-
I wrote a note, it says the township may impose any of these methods of discipline depending on the nature of the incident.
That's the statement I'm talking about. What are we talking, what methods of discipline
Well,
are we
and then it
talking about?
says,
It's not clarified in here.
it says here, the Monee Township reserves the right to handle each situation individually and to discipline an employee as it sees fit.
Right.
Yeah,
And it says examples of disciplinary include or not limited to verbal warnings, written warnings, unpaid suspension, and termination. And it all
Okay, so-
depends on what is, what
We're
the
gonna leave
problem
that part
was.
in there.
Yeah, that's in there,
That's fine.
right,
That's fine.
right. Okay, the next one is,
Okay, and that's a protected
And I must tell you
activity.
that-
I want you to know in the statute, that's a protected activity. Tell them, Joe, you get activity.
James, you're talking to someone who's always at will.
okay, and that
Well, I got your back, Opie.
is, this is basically it. Other than, Maurice,
Yes.
other than what we have here, is there any other changes, suggestions that you want to see. I'm gonna make a few changes that we have. We'll bring this back in December and, with the changes, and we'll have another chance to look at it, so that we can talk some more. So get a chance, if you would, to please, you know, go and continue looking at it and, you know, make suggestions. All right, let's go back into old business. Sandra finally got her line item transfer. It says a transfer from line item 5030, which is health insurance, taking from 5030 health insurance, $200 to 5015 unemployment tax to help cover the negative amount that's in there. Is there a motion to approve this? Moved by Debbie, second by Terry. All right, the roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bowles?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Deborah?
Yes. All right, let's go into the Will Ride. Will Ride, we got our bill, and the good news is this. If you remember from last month, and the last couple months, is that our portion that was the net cost per trip was like $50. And they kept saying that when we added the Frankfort Township was supposed to add a lot more rides in there. Apparently it was true, because now it's gone down to $38.62 a ride, of which we pay half of that. So our total that we have to pay with our 50% matching is $4,638.89 for the month of August. And so it looks like we're still running around $4,500 to $5,000 a month, even with that lowered amount. And I think it's because of, you know, our ridership keeps picking up, so that's probably the reason.
Could
So-
you ask them to, the spreadsheet that they gave us, if they can cut some of these columns out and just give us the meat? This is too cumbersome to try to understand this.
It
I mean,
is.
they can just,
I
you
understand,
know.
but this is what we get from, you know, she gets a lot of this from Pace, and she cuts a lot of columns out.
Oops.
I have asked her before,
This is
but, you know,
crazy.
unfortunately, there's some things that they tell us, that it's
I
a
know.
regular ride, it was on demand.
I mean, it's
a
things we need,
dialysis,
but
it's,
this
you know,
is-
I mean, it has to have the name and the address, and
Right, there's about
basically,
5 or 6 things in here that we
yeah.
need, and it's
All we
stuff
really need is Monee Township residents.
residents, the, you know, the time,
Well,
but
we
I
kind
think
of
we
need
can.
the address, because
Yeah, the
sometimes we
address.
have to make
Sure,
sure
we need
that
the
they are
address.
in Monee Township.
But all this other, there's a lot of
Yeah.
things in here, the dates, you know, obviously, I think we need to get another review on this, and,
We'll ask her, you know, if she's
Yeah.
possible, she can cut anything down.
yeah, maybe we can recommend, or we'll look at this and say, you know what, I think it's about 6 or 7 columns that we really.
Well, Willie, you probably can do that, can't you? Go through on your computer and.
You get this electronically?
You could
Yeah,
probably,
yeah, that'd be
you could
great.
probably take out some of these pickup time columns easily. And, you know, I suppose this print is bigger, we could probably even take it down a print column, or, you know, a print size, and then maybe it'll get on a smaller sheet. So, we probably could do that ourselves, so why don't we try that? Is there a motion to approve the, do you hear my good news, is that it was $50 per ride, it's down on $38.62 because we've added the Frankfurt riders.
I see
And they
that.
said that it was gonna start showing that,
So
and that was when,
$38.62.
August is the first month that Frankfurt had riders, so that does show a decrease.
Does it show how many riders?
Our riders, our total trips, no, I don't know, but they have about 1,000, they have quite a few trips. They have about, total trips for the whole unit was 941. And our trips are only 264.
Wow, you got
And you figure
665.
even if you add a couple in for Will and Peatone Township, which they never have very many, you have to realize the rest of that is Frankfurt. So you have to figure they've got at least 600 to 7. They'll say they have up to sometimes 1,000 riders a month.
So we pay $4,600. This,
That's half of the 97 to 77 that we owe.
if we shoot down this route of $4,600, this is monthly, right?
This is what we paid this month.
So we haven't gained much. That's $4,600. Our budget was $50,000.
Yeah,
So
and if we
right
would do
at
this
six-
every year, next year our budget's gonna be at least 60,000.
See, so
Right.
that didn't add much value to us, like these those riders seem like.
Well, $50 compared to $38
I mean, 50
is $12
But our
per ride.
whole premise on this, when we first
Right.
got ourselves
Might be
involved,
cheaper.
that it was gonna be cheaper.
Well, not just it was cheaper, but it was also
More
going to
efficient.
give us more efficient
Yeah.
service, which we see somewhat, but it was also supposed to give us better reporting, which we're getting, more timely, because now they're 2 months behind instead of 10 months behind. And, you know, so there was some of that too, because that we just, and we could see down the pipe that the Washington Township line is not doing well, and I'm not certain how much longer it's gonna continue. We had to stabilize that for ourselves too, because that was already in a heavy problem.
Let's just continue to keep a sharp eye on this.
We
Let this
do.
not be a runaway train, because when we was gonna take a sample, when we first got ourselves involved with this, how it was gonna go and see how things was gonna line up financially.
But what alternative do you
No,
have?
no, we do not have to. I mean, we can always stop it, I mean,
I understand.
but we have
If
X
you-
amount of
If
dollars.
you stop it, then you have seniors that are in need.
Or we can
Right.
redefine some things. All I'm saying is,
Right.
you know, we have to just
Yeah, we don't-
say, you know, when it's enough, it's enough. How far are we going? We went from 25,000, you know, a few years back, and now we had 50,000 plus.
You said they started adding Frankfurt.
Yeah.
August,
no.
and that's why we're showing a slight decrease. I'm hoping that, and Frankfurt has some startup problems, like we all had startup problems, and I'm hoping that September that'll increase, and maybe it'll take it down a couple more dollars.
So you know, this report is only till August, right?
Pardon me?
This report is only through August.
This is August, we've gotten before the September, we've got every month to get this report. All right, is there a motion to approve paying them the August total of $4,638.89?
Yes.
Moved by Debbie, is there a second?
Second.
Second by James. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Gold?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Deborah?
Yes. Anybody have any information on the Illinois Flames Track Club, how they're doing with getting their state paperwork that they need, their not-for-profit?
I haven't heard from them.
Maurice, have you heard
I haven't heard
how we're
from
doing
them.
in Flames or anything?
We're talking about them participating next year, so they got a little time to play
Okay,
with
I
it.
just did, I didn't know if anybody
Yeah.
heard anything.
And I think they were looking for some clarification on their 501 and their budget.
Well, we were looking for a letter that showed they had to have a not-for-profit
Yeah.
status, I
I
think.
think they had
Well, I
some.
think their not-for-profits.
Had expired.
Had expired.
Right, so they had to renew it. Okay, let's move on into project reports. Maurice, have you talked with GSU lately?
No, I have not.
And our
Have you heard
last,
anything, Willie?
no. Our last thing from them said that they would encourage us to wait to start till January, but I think you might want to talk with Dean, whatever his name is, Jennings, and because if we want to get a program started in January, we need to have it nailed down in December.
I agree.
So if you can
I'll
bring
have
us
some
information,
conversation.
okay.
That's how
Bring
it
us
works.
back something by the middle of December, or at a December meeting would be great.
When is the next newsletter going out?
Not until
January?
In
January, I
February.
think, January, February.
down in February.
The next newsletter?
Right. So what'll happen is if we do get it straightened around in December that we can start at a certain date, we will have to send our families a letter.
Right.
Saying that we'll be starting up again.
I hope it does, because it's needed.
Yeah. Okay. National Youth Program utilizing motorbikes.
Yes. Well,
Go
last
get your
Tuesday
helmet out of
night,
the car.
it's still, well, let me just summarize it. It's still a work in progress. However, last Tuesday night, Ms. Alfreda Keller made a PowerPoint presentation at the University Park Library, and it was quite comprehensive. Now, I do believe she emailed board members, and you should have got an email.
I do have that.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'll make sure you get it, because I still got it on my email. It was it went over the history, it went over the actual operation of the program in Thornton Township. She explained that we still have the opportunity to utilize the 13 bikes from Honda, along with all the helmets. 4 of the 7 board members of University Park Public Library was present during the presentation. I invited the mayor, Monee, and I actually talked to him on the telephone, Mayor Farquhar. I talked to him on the telephone. He put me in touch with one of the staff members. However, they never did any follow-up, so he was not present at the meeting at the University Park Library. I invited the mayor of University Park, and Mayor Covington was present. And of course, Donna was present. And I do believe I sent out an email inviting everybody on board too. And I understand if you had scheduled conference, no problem. I was there. So at this point, the University Park Public Library did express an interest in wanting to follow up and follow through with this project. There are some costs involved, and I did receive several sources, recommendations of other people in the community and outside the immediate community, but still within Monee Township, that I need to establish contact with in order to build this collaborative effort among different entities. So I will be contacting Dr. Cunningham at the school district.
Not quite until the end of December. No, Mr. Cunningham. He's
Okay,
working on
Mr. Cunningham, okay, all right,
So
fine, okay. It's my understanding that several ministers in the community of churches is interested in doing more for the kids in University Park. I want to tie this program into literacy, okay, and as a reward and incentive program for our kids doing well in school, attendance-wise, academic-wise, and not just another recreational activity. Okay, Ms. Keller explained how there's 21 different lessons on safety and operation of motorbikes and that the kids will have to go through. So at this point, what was suggested and recommended is that perhaps you, I, and Tracy, the director of the library, could come together and sort of like begin to formulate a plan as to how this would work. I don't envision this being unveiled until April, so I do believe that's outside of our budget year. They do understand that there's no commitment from the board in terms of financial support, how much it's going to be, or they understand that. And the library has not given any type of financial commitment because there are some startup costs involved. Ms. Keller did explain how we could save a lot of money, okay, and all this was a part of the PowerPoint presentation. So, and Tracy Duckworth was present. She's the director of the library at University Park. She was present, so she heard all this. So at this point, what I would like to see Monee Township take the lead on this because of our obligations to the youth in the community. The library is interested in tying it into the literacy aspect. So at this point, I think it was, Donna, I was hoping that maybe you and I and Tracy could come together and begin to formulate a plan as to how this could possibly work. And of course, I'm going to be part of the process also, as I continue to reach out to the community and get other players on board that would participate and support the program also. I do not want to see the 13 new bikes or helmets back to 100. I don't want to see that happen.
Well,
where are they now?
Huh?
Where are the bikes
In
now?
storage.
let me tell you my problem with this. I went through the PowerPoint presentation, and what I saw on there is that they're looking for a lead agency in there, but they're also looking, anytime you commit yourself to something like that, you've already said that it's going to take a lot of volunteers, and we don't get enough volunteers to get into our Sunday night program. And then they have the problem that, I don't know if that storage is temporary now. We don't have storage here, so we have a storage problem on that. And then the other thing is that it's very costly because you have to, not only are you're having to maintain the bikes, and there's the cost of the gas, and there's the cost of, that and the insurance and all the other thing. And I think our tormentors would probably cover it, but it might add something to that because it might have a special fee because it's involving motorized vehicles and kids. I don't know that, what that would cost. And the other thing is what it requires is a lot, they need, and the thing that really bothered me about anything was that it requires somebody basically to have staff, and it's talking staff. Well, we don't have staff. We don't have excess staff to monitor the program. Willa is our only full-time person. She doesn't have time to add much else to her schedule, especially like when we get into, say, September, October, November, December. Those are such terrible, terrible months that it's she can barely keep up with what we've got. And it basically says, it's monitoring between, monitoring with the kids, with the parents and the schools, and it sounded like it was a, full-time job, just, making sure that the kids and the family and everybody was doing what they were supposed to be doing. And we do not have the money as a township to hire another person just to cover that program, and nor do we have the money in the youth budget to do anything, because right now you've got $10,000 in there, and you figure that if we'd had a normal year, we will have, we might spend $5,000 or $6,000 at GSU, so that leaves about $4,000 in there for other things.
Donna, I got you covered. You know what, I've always admired your candor. So let me just address some of the issues that you brought up. First of all, volunteers that problem has already been worked out, because Ms. Keller is a member of a couple of motorcycle clubs, and she has people who have volunteered their time to help these kids in the past, and they're willing to do that again. All we have to do is send them through the background check. The University Park Library has that. Well, they don't. They haven't yet. But the same plan I put together for Monee Township with the Illinois State Police and doing a background check is the same plan that I helped them apply for, and we're just still waiting on approval. So that part of it is fixed. All we have to do is that part is fixed right there. Okay. The second thing is storage problem. That problem is fixed because the bikes can stay in the same storage area now. However, there's a monthly fee involved, and if I remember correctly, it's less than $160 a month. Okay. Yes, the program is costly. However, I've already identified a resource that does not have to be the total funding source for this program. So that takes the weight off the township. Okay, but I'm pretty certain the township would offer something and not nothing. But the total cost of operating the program would not be on our shoulders, because the way I envision this. In terms of staff, we don't have to be responsible for that. Okay, we don't have to be responsible for that, because with the volunteers, you're only looking at maybe possibly one staff member that will coordinate the entire program. Okay, now the position of who they will report to and who's going to be directly responsible for it, that's something we have to work out. That's the brainstorming part that we have to decide how we're going to address that. And that person will be responsible for the monitoring piece of the kids. The parents play a role in this, making sure the kids are eligible to participate and conducting the training. That will be the responsibility of the staff person.
You're saying you're going to have a volunteer staff person?
Not total, but some of the people, there'll probably end up being one paid staff person. Now, whether that be full-time or part-time would be determined about how we organize this program. Okay, we're not talking about 12 months out of the year. Okay, because in the cold months like in October, they will not be riding bikes. They will be doing community service. Okay, so you only talk. I'm envisioning unveiling it in April, and then you're talking about May, June, July, August, and it terminates in September, and they start getting into community service projects. See, all this has to be formulated in writing on paper. But I hear where you're going with this, and the last part that you mentioned was money's in the budget. Well, I don't, I heard you, I'm with you, Donna. I understand money is tight. So that's where the other entities coming into this will reduce the cost from the primary financial support. Okay? But I want this to be a township activity. Now I understand, with this agreement, Joe, we'll need your expertise too to make sure all the legal ins and outs are there.
That's my problem. I don't want the township to be the lead agency. Because
Okay.
what that comes down to is the fact that, we didn't, with the busing, look how many calls that's added to you, just since we've added that. So that's, we put in the bus thing and that adds extra things. We put in the youth night, so that's, people registering, we get a lot of calls and that's answered. So it put, I'm just saying that that's put a lot of extra things. So now if we've got the
That's fine.
township, now I'm just saying, if we have a township as a lead agency, then it is basically our responsibility, and people are gonna be calling here, so our volume of calls will be going up. And then there's, no matter what you say about volunteers and things, it just doesn't always happen. And my fear is that, and it's a possibility that as of April, you might not be on the board anymore. And
Here?
you would be right, it's possible if you're elected someplace else, right?
Right.
So then you might not be on the board, so then the person that's the biggest volunteer and the most stalwart person for that program is no longer going to be here. And so then I just don't see that, I don't see the follow through.
And Donna, and I can respect that, and I don't have a problem with that, but, again, see, all this has to come out in a meeting of the players involved, so we can begin to finalize and move forward. At this point, I do not want to see those bikes be taken from this area, because it will be the only resource of activity of that nature in this area. Nobody else locally is doing anything like this, and if we do not grab hold of these bikes and keep them within this area for our youth, that's exactly what Honda's going to do. Right now, Honda's paying the insurance and storage fee on it, okay? But if they know, huh?
How long are they willing
I'll
to?
put a question mark behind it, we don't know. But the only reason they have not terminated that expense is because they know there's an agency out there that's looking to formulate something, okay? So if you don't want the township taking lead, I can respect that. We'll just have to identify somebody else that will.
Right,
And
and see,
yes,
I think of this, yes, we
Yeah.
should be a part of it, I would
Yeah.
like to, I think as part of our youth committee. But as I said, we have trouble getting volunteers for our gym night, so I don't know how successful we would be with this. I
Okay.
think it's a good program, but I just don't think that if we can find some village or some entity that's bigger than we are to have that, some more staff, so that it would, fall more easily into them, I would rather they be lead rather than us.
okay, so in terms of brevity right now, will you agree to meet with me and Tracy?
Definitely, I definitely would meet, I just telling you
That's
that
not- okay.
my feelings right off the bat, so that you know
I
that,
and
I don't think
and I
we should be
respect that.
lead.
I like that, okay.
So what's the deal as far as liability?
Huh?
As far as liability, how involved will we be as far as liability?
Well, that's something that we have to work out, okay? Because the way it's structured is that you need a lead agency to provide the leadership for all the other players to participate in it, okay?
So we pretty much made a determination right at this point that
Well,
we
Donna
are not
doesn't
gonna
want
take that lead.
Monee Township to
I don't
participate.
know how
Okay,
you
and
guys
that's
feel about
fine.
it. I
That's
just think
fine.
that
She
it's,
We don't have to.
being lead is going to overstress what we already are doing. And I think that.
See, I
I'd
didn't
like
know
to
that
see
part
us-
was happening, but I don't have a problem with that.
And I didn't know that was, until I went through the slide presentation,
Mm-hmm.
and it was saying all the things that were gonna be needed and to care and to keep up with everything, and I started saying, oh, that's a lot of phone calls, and that's a lot of extra stress, and Will is one person.
And see, that's why I need you at the table with me, Donna, when we formulate all this.
Who else is doing a similar function
Not-
like this?
Nobody.
Nobody.
Nobody,
We
because,
stepping on new waters, huh?
right, because the resources out there, and, Thornton Township lost a grant,
Right.
and there was no other funding.
And you have to realize this, Thornton Township has
Huge.
lots of money, and if they cannot afford the program,
Is that the reason they stopped?
No, they had a grant.
they have a grant.
There was a grant,
They
and the grant
probably
ran
had-
out, and they said,
Right,
no, we're
and they
not
don't
gonna
want to
fund
fund it, and if they didn't want to fund it, because I'm sure that they probably have the money much more than we do, they could have, but they chose not to.
Do we look to go down that avenue and seek for what's required for grants such as going in?
Not yet,
501c3.
not yet, but,
I'm serious.
yeah, but not yet, because see, this is still, I had to do the background, inquiry into it. I had to, talk with the people that was actively, Donna gave me specific instructions about what she was interested in. So, and I cleared through all that, and sometimes it's hard to get players to, consistently communicate with you and talk to you about it, and, I had to play telephone tag a lot of times, So at this point.
Well, I kind of been sitting on the sideline,
Right.
and, you have supported me
Yeah.
big time with the youth committee and all that, so anything you want me to do, just let me know.
Well, call, Mr. Cunningham when,
Okay.
I'll tell you what, I'll call him first,
You want to
and then let him, I want to sit down, because
You
it's
wanna
my
have a meeting
understanding
with
that he wants to connect with the community more.
Oh, yes.
So I want to build in that academic piece,
Okay.
and by him being the superintendent, he can funnel it down to principals, who can funnel it down to teachers, who is a primary resource for this. So he may have some ideas in terms of a contact person that will come to the table also.
He's really good at trying to reach out.
And is this something that, you're talking about lead agencies that would have more money than we do, is this something that the school district might think about doing? Because
I'm trying to.
Because we're talking about, and tying it into literacy and at-risk children too.
Well, that's
So maybe
another
it would
piece.
help with the, some of the problems the school districts have had too.
Well, that's another piece too, and I'm glad you brought that up too.
It's a possibility.
The at-risk kids is not totally referrals from the criminal justice system, even though that's how the program
That's-
started.
It could be through the school.
It could be through the school for academic reasons. I mean, sometimes kids are considered at risk if they have, they're single parent home with lack of supervision at night. Okay? They could be an at-risk kid also. So, I mean, you're not talking about just servicing a deviant behavior-oriented child. You're not. You're talking about, and I want to take it up a level. I want to be able to provide this program as an incentive or as an encouragement or a motivation tool for a kid to do well in school, stay out of trouble. Have something more productive to do. Not all our children participate in football or basketball. There's other things that would
Which
interest
is
them.
why I'm
Well,
thinking
just
that
one
this
caveat, because
might be.
motorcycles is kind of a sore subject with the school district at this time. Only
But it's not a motorcycle, it's a motorbike, it's a dirt
Well,
bike.
that's what I'm,
Yeah, it's a dirt bike.
I'm just saying because of
The
what happened a year
accident.
ago.
Yeah, but
okay.
that was a outside.
I know,
case,
yeah,
But
but
I'm
I'm
just
just saying
thinking, this
just the
sounds
time.
like it would be in the school district's bailiwick, because we're talking about trying to help children that they might have problems with in school, and also, bringing the literacy
Well,
rate
let's
up
do a
and things
parallel
like
path.
that.
I'll talk to you offline.
Well, let me call him first and
Okay.
try to get an appointment, and if I have difficulty reaching
Yeah,
him,
we
we can't
do.
get the appointment, then,
And maybe he could meet with us and Tracy.
I can give them a heads up tomorrow.
okay, all right, and then, that's fine, that's cool. But I don't want to just wait on them, because see, the availability of us coming together quickly, can transpire, and I can save a lot of time, especially with the holidays coming up.
And if we're trying to find somebody lead agency, you said that Mayor Farquhar was interested.
Well, yeah, I talked to him, and I gotta give him another follow-up telephone.
We're missing one, let's not forget Park Forest.
Well, I haven't
Okay.
gotten to, this takes a lot of work. This takes a lot of work, so, I'm taking step by step.
Let's not
My
forget
intention,
Park Forest.
my intention was to do two things. One is to follow up with Mayor Farquhar, and two was to reach out to the school and Park Forest at the same time. But the holidays are coming up, and, I'm doing a
And
juggling act.
see
Yeah.
this is just an example of
Thanks,
what I was
Jane.
telling you. And say, this is the kind of thing that when you do something like that, the work snowballs. And that's why I am very hesitant to be the lead agency, because I know the shortage of staff that we have. And so like where one thing leads to another thing, leads to another thing, so that it ends up putting more pressure on Willow, which I can't.
Well, I don't have a problem with that, Donna, and I respect that, because it lets me know the boundaries, okay? But there's two things, and I'm gonna end this conversation, there's two things that I envision. I envision this program can work.
I think it can.
And two, I believe that, we can do this, okay? And I'm willing to work it out. And if I, by chance in April, is no longer officially a part of this board, I'm not walking away completely. Let me
Good
just
help,
share
and
with
Maurice
you.
needs your help on June 9th.
Yeah, and also there's a planning committee for the township. There's a lot of development taking place out here, so I would like to be, actively participating on the planning committee, or however else I can serve the township, because I still live here.
Our planning commission has not met for 4 years,
Well, maybe I can, you know.
because we have to, that everything that we get has to come from the county and the plan commission, and we haven't been getting that much for a reason for the plan commission to meet.
Well, if in April something happens, maybe I can resurrect that planning committee.
Maybe you
Yeah,
can,
so-
maybe you can lean
yeah.
on that. All right, good, well, we'll continue discussions, as I said, I would be more than happy to meet.
Okay, I'll email you and ask you for some dates, and we'll get with Tracy.
All right, let's do a trustee audit of accounts from October 17th through November 20th, with a total amount of $284,981.69. I'll start initially down that way.
Just real quick, the Going Green, I will report something.
Oh,
next time.
sorry.
That's okay, because I did sit in on a Going Green seminar during the conference.
Sign this while you're talking.
That's it. I'll do it. I just have to gather some information.
Okay, so you'll
I'll do it
do
next
more
time.
about
Do
it?
a report.
Okay, great.
Next
All
time.
right, was there a motion to approve the audit of accounts?
So moved.
Moved by Debbie. Second by Terry. Any other discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Rose?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Deborah?
Yes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So
I'm
moved.
sorry, is there any board comments? I keep skipping things on this agenda
I
here.
think we had enough comments for that.
Okay, all right, then I would like a motion to adjourn, and who said one?
I did.
Okay, Maurice, and there was a second? Second. Second by Terry. And roll call vote, please.
Trustee Bowles?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Burgess?
Yes.
Trustee Young?
Yes.
Supervisor Deborah?
Yes. So I should say no, we stay here.
No, do you need any help? What's going on with the baskets? I